am back with another book talk today, and this one's a little unusual. Normally we start with the first book in a series or these standalones and we do reviews. However, I have many opinions and feels about this series, and the book we are talking about today is actually the fifth book in the series. I thoroughly enjoyed 1 through 4. I thought they were fantastic, and for some reason every time I got to 5, the excitement, the awesomeness, everything about this series just seemed to die. So I don't know what it was about book 5. However, I was determined to finally finish this series. So I started with book 5. I ended up finding the audiobook of it. So I listened to the audiobook. Because I struggled with this book so much, I actually put it on like 1.5 just so I could hurry up and get through this book. And the book that I am talking about today is Spiritbound by Richelle Mead. Now this is book 5, so I am going to assume that most of you have read this series and that you know what this book is about. But if you, for some reason, are watching review number 5 and you haven't read books 1 through 4, spoilers are coming up. Surprise, surprise. So as I said earlier, this book frustrated me so much because I loved Vampire Academy. Frostbite brought me to tears. Shadow Kiss rocked my world, and Blood Promise had me on the edge of my seat. And then we hit Spiritbound. Spiritbound. I think it's just because you go from Blood Promise and Rose going to Russia and interacting with Dimitri's family and all the things that she goes through in Russia when it comes to Dimitri being a Strigoi and all of that. And then you get into this book where she's back and it's, okay, we're gonna have a trial. And now we're going to court. I believe because the rest of these books were so action-packed and so fast-paced, and the slow moments in them had been so necessary for the story, that when you get to Spiritbound, it just slows down. It slows down so much compared to the rest of the books. I'm tired of holding this, so hold on a second. This story had so much going for it, and it had so much of my interest, and I was so wrapped up in this world that I believe Spiritbound killed it for me, just because of the fact that I was expecting so much. I was expecting this action-packed and Rose kicking butt and going left and right and this and that and blah, and like all this other different things. And yeah, we have that at the beginning with Rose's trial and like her passing her tests and that they had to amp it up for, but it was still a very mediocre version of everything else that Rose had gone through. Story frustrated me so much. The story definitely, I think where I finally was able to say to myself that yes, I'm going to finish this book and continue with this series, is when we get to the jailbreak. I definitely got some old Vampire Academy reminiscent, like action-packed ness in there, so that definitely I believe helped. And then also when they go to Las Vegas and Victor finally escapes and they have no idea where he is or what happened and such, that all definitely helped bring the story forward, and it definitely helped keep my interest with the overhanging mystery of where's Victor and where is he in this world. But most of the things that occurred physically at the court bored the crap out of me. They absolutely bored the crap out of me. Also, with the action-packed scenes though, is not only this mystery of Victor, but then when we finally have Rose run into Dimitri in Las Vegas, that was an awesome epic scene, and especially Rose having the guilt of knowing that she saved Dimitri just for him to go and kill and slaughter humans. It's all because she stopped Eddie from killing him. Another one of those action scenes though is when they have to go to the warehouse to save Lissa after she went to Lehigh to get her tour and Dimitri comes and kidnaps her. That is another one of the things that frustrated me about this book, is it was so predictable. So predictable. And I have a feeling it's because of the fact that Vampire Academy, the entire series came out around the big hype of the Twilight vampire era. So when that was all going on, most of this stuff was stuff that I know personally as a reader, I just kind of brushed off because I was just looking for the vampire story, and I know most people were there too. So it's all stuff that got brushed under the rug a long time ago, but especially now as a reader, being more analytical of the things that I read, it's so frustrating. Every twist in this book, I called. The ending of this with Lissa having a half brother or sister, as soon as they were in Las Vegas and somebody said that her father was dropping money to somebody that is unknown and it was quite a bit of money and such, I was like, Lissa's got a half sibling somewhere. That also might just be too much of watching like criminal shows and documentaries and shit. It might not be Richelle Mead's fault, that might be my fault. I digress. So this scene where Lissa and Christian get kidnapped by Dimitri, I do love the interaction in this scene between Rose and Dimitri, because you see that he's finally had enough of her trying to get away from him and everything that's in their dynamic of a relationship, especially after Russia. It definitely brought in some very interesting like key points to think about. I feel like it could have been orchestrated a little bit better. It seemed very simple that Rose shows up, Lissa and Christian get free, Christian encases Dimitri in fire, Lissa like it all seemed very robotic, just step, 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 step. I feel like there was a very much more elegant way to put it out there. I still enjoyed the scene, so I'm not going to say too much about like it was an awful, horrible scene, because I did actually really enjoy it. When we move into Dimitri finally being back at court and being kept a prisoner, the entire time that Rose is obsessing over Dimitri, all I kept thinking is just break up with Adrian. Just let Adrian go. Let him be free. Go obsess all you want, but let poor Adrian go. Adrian is trying to be so understanding and so helpful of Rose and tell her that it's okay and he understands, and Rose is just like, cool, bye. Adrian's just trying to be a nice guy and understand what she's going through, which is even better for Adrian's character arc, but it also at the same time leaves me feeling so frustrated for him. Again, I blame this on me and my obsessive reading and movies and love stories and how many times this has been reused since this book came out. But when the love interest of the main girl starts saying,
leave me alone, get away from me, I don't love you, my love is gone,
we all know he's lying. We all know he still loves her, which comes out and about and prevalent when the royal guard comes for Rose and Dimitri is all keeping them away from her. However, I am always a sucker for a good push and pull from our love interests, so I'm cool with it. Doesn't bother me too much. I know probably a lot of people have issues with it, but personally, I'm cool with the dynamic. But on the note of Adrian, after Rose sees Dimitri and he does his whole "my love has faded" thing, and she goes back to her room and Adrian comes and shows up, I was going to be so mad if Adrian and Rose did not do something. They did not do something. I was going to be so mad, because that was the perfect typical book opportunity. And yes, I did say typical book because it is very typical and it's very expected that something was going to happen, but I love it. I love it. Throughout all of Vampire Academy, like the entire series, Rose's timing is the best. The timing for her jokes, for her comments, for the things she thinks of, it is the best. And it even more so in this moment with Adrian and her, where they're almost there, they're finally about to take that step in their relationship, and Rose like pulls away and is like, no, we need protection. And poor Adrian's just sitting there, just, really? Now. Although I'm glad that Richelle Mead chose to have Rose stick to her guns on that one, because these books are definitely geared more towards an impressionable audience, so I definitely think that is a very good character trait for Rose to be more concerned about the protection than getting actually wrapped up in the moment. When Rose gets arrested and she has to have a hearing because she's the #1 suspect in Queen Tatiana's death, I knew, because I'm not the brightest person on the planet, I knew that Tatiana died, and that is only because I had read the back of Last Promise, where it says specifically, and now the queen is dead. So, did that one to myself. Can't blame anyone else for that one. So I knew Queen died. I had a feeling it was going to be blamed on Rose. However, I didn't really connect the dots until after it had been said. I probably could have if I sat down and thought about it, but I didn't. Daniela Ivashkov drives me up a freaking wall. I understand she's concerned for her son, and she's a Mori, so all she cares about is her son, and that he needs to be safe and protected, and I get it. I understand. But you can have some sympathy for the girl that's on trial. So overall though, guys, what did you think about Spiritbound? Did you think it was a good 5th installment? Did you kind of feel like I do, where it was kind of a letdown for the other ones? With that in mind, do you guys think Last Sacrifice is a good installment? Do you think it's a good end to the book? Let me know down in the comments below. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. As always, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you next time.